My dad.
I know it's a poem. Paul.
Some of you may not already know that I spent 5 years in the Navy in World War II. And,
Who doesn't know that?
well, some, do any of you not know that?
The little ones.
There's a lot of babies here.
Anyway, I wrote that up at the insistence of the family and grandchildren, and it's been quite a hit. And some nice lady wrote it and made me a challenge. She said, you were on such a roll and you were doing so well at the end of it, I wanted it to go on. What happened next? And here's what happened next. I have this poem that I wrote at our picnic. So I want to read it to you and I want to comment on it as I go, to sort of bring it up to date. A handsome young sailor.
Starts out well.
Yeah, I couldn't just say, I came home and I was handsome. I had to do it in the third person. So, this handsome young sailor came from the sea and away from the war's cruel strife. His quest was for a young man's dream, knowledge, a home, and a wife, and not necessarily in that order. For knowledge, he enrolled at Pomona Junior College and was domiciled at the Y. And fates ordained that his future wife was a waitress at the U&I. That was a little cafe there in, mom and pop cafe there in Pomona. She was a lovely young teenager with an engaging manner and smile. She was just 16 at the time, and his interest she did beguile. You know, teenage girls are very beguiling. And you can imagine this sailor on the prowl. And you can imagine seeing this girl all at one time. She was a snooty little cutie, a classy little lassie, a keen little queen, and in Navy parlance, a hot little tomato. After a suitable interval and a lot of flirting, she finally agreed to a date. She kissed him and they went home.
Don't tell the kids.
And he knew he had found his mate. They courted for a goodly time, slightly against her parents' wishes. Now you can imagine the father of this blooming flower, and here's this guy that's 6.5 years older and a sailor to boot. You know, how many strikes can you have against you? Anyway, and then they were married on a day in May, a church wedding, and quite auspicious. They honeymooned on the California coast at Santa Maria and Carmel, and then on to San Francisco, and the Russian River as well. I gotta watch myself. They settled in Pomona for a time, where their first child was born, a boy. Although they struggled to pay the rent, their lives were filled with joy. As I remember it, I had at least 10 or 12 jobs that winter because there was a slight recession in the country. We had a lot of dinners at Donna's folks. In due course, they left Pomona in search of further knowledge. They traveled north to SLO, San Luis Obispo, and California Polytechnic College. For 3 years they worked and played there, and their marriage bloomed and flowered. They were away from both families, so they had time to get to know each other and work things out, and everything was great. 2 more children were born there, and with a degree, he was empowered. Lockheed Aircraft offered him work to help configure planes. She kept on having children, and they almost ran out of names.
That's darling.
Originally, they had plans for 6, as Sandra said, but the Lord gave them 11. If rearing children stores up grace, surely they have a chance for heaven. The Lord was being very magnanimous in the 50s and 60s. Marriage seemed their natural state. Their roles fit like a glove. Where are we? Oh, through the years, they made it work with his help from above. As a family, they grew and prospered with strong ties of love and caring, lots of music and laughter, and a unique sense of sharing. Their family vacations are legend. Camping in the mountains of the West, hiking and fishing and smelling the pines, and at day's end, a campfire and a song fest. Dad played the harmonica and everybody that could sang. Then tragedy overtook them. A rare illness drew a dark shade, and over the years claimed 4 of their loved ones. Each time put their hearts like a blade. Excuse that. But life is for the living, and through their pain and sorrow, a light always shone through the darkness, each other and a hope of tomorrow. In later years they have traveled Europe, Hawaii, and the Caribbean, India, Canada, Alaska, the East Coast, and New Zealand. Isn't it neat how they rhymed? Their children are grown and married, and they have grandchildren galore, and are even blessed with great-grandchildren. Who could ask for more? Golden age brings aches and pains, and a wrinkle here and there. Since their love is constant, they don't seem to care. Now I'd like to comment on Golden Age. Strange things happen to you. Like on my mustache, I like it to go up because I like a happy face. But every once in a while, one of them will tend downwards, so I have to punish it and put it back up there, make it stay. On my right foot, if I wear laced shoes, that lace comes undone in about a city block.
It's true.
So I have shoelaces that I'm tripping over, so I have to double knot on the right foot.
Just the right.
And on my
Little
left
things.
big toe,
The worst
if
of
I
your
face
problems.
due north,
It's the little things.
my toenail is going west. Okay. Now, ladies,
Too much information.
I'm sure they wanted to know that. Okay. Now I wanted to talk about the kidneys. Okay.
We're frightened.
Do you have to go?
Let's leave. We're
Wait, dear.
leaving.
This is entertaining.
For who?
Who knew
We're embarrassed.
that your kidneys were going to process all that liquid
Liquor.
into this little tiny container which had to be emptied religiously.
Every 5 minutes.
And
5 minutes.
every so often.
So you're a woman
You
now.
know. So anyway, I think that
Join the crowd,
affects everybody of any age.
sooner or later.
So I think we ought to petition Bill and Melinda Gates or Warren Buffett or Newman's Own or somebody to fund a project. And they could take what is it?
Never,
Where are you
maybe
going?
about to bow out of this.
No. Donna. Anyway,
Research and
they have to
development.
fund a program,
Research and
and I've
development.
Research and development.
even got a name for it. And I have an acronym. It's the BBB project. Build a better bladder.
What are your brains?
Okay, now, I also thought of, we've been stepping on a few frogs, but I didn't really get into that in any depth, so we will forget that. Now, I want you to be serious again for just a moment, because I'm going to read the last verse, and I want you all to really hear it. 65 years seems an eon if you only count trouble and strife. But with a loving partner, it's a day-by-day symphony of life.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to
I would.
take the mic? Oh,
Mom, would you like to speak?
No, that's just fine.
You're on, Dan.
I was going to, but.
She knows where her place is. Come on.
Whoa!
You know where your place is.
You better go speak.
Come on, Donna.
Thank you, I have the best.
Come on, Donna.
Go, Mom, get up there and say something.
And thank you, everyone. I just love seeing you.
I always like to kid her.
Oh, I can yell. That was my nice voice. My big voice.
One more
Anyway,
comment.
you're taking.
I love looking out into all of those beautiful
Did he
smiling
just take
faces.
my thing?
But as I look out there, I see a couple that really need looking into.
Are you trying to take my speech except for the last? I think you are. Anyway, I love you all, and I am so pleased to have you here. And it really, it's not gonna be something we do every day. And so we're very happy to have you all, and just love you.
We love you. We love you.
This is gonna be fun. Watch
Whoa.
carefully. Watch my hand.
You scooted back.
Go, George, go. That was a good one.
The hands never lost the body. Well, go ahead. Because what I'm gonna do is model it.
Oh.
Kind of.
Okay. Sit down, George. You have a seat.
Who's George? I don't know who George is.
You don't know who he is?
I'll tell you in a few minutes.
Well,
I
Frank,
see him.
wait a minute. Now you're confusing me.
I wanted to speak today, but I thought about writing something, but if I were to write something, I would edit it so many times and check every single word and get out the thesaurus online and worry about my punctuation and my sentence structure, so I didn't. But as I was getting ready, I dashed home to get ready, and I knew what I wanted to say. So as I put my makeup on, I typed on my computer.
Oh, that's good.
And because I can't just seem to say it the way I want to say it. So here goes. When I considered what could be said weeks ago about Mom and Dad as parents, for me the biggest fact is that they are and have always been my biggest fans. I thought of all the ways they've supported me in my life and have convinced me that they truly believe I'm awesome. And they've told me so many countless times I had no choice but to believe them because their conviction never wavered. But this is not about me today, or their other children, or their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, siblings, aunts, uncles, parents, or friends. I think I was showering the other day, a place where I do a lot of my best thinking. And the realization struck me that this celebration is about a love story. A spectacular love story is what we celebrate today. Two individuals finding each other in a time and place and falling in love. Two individuals, two hearts, two minds and spirits, two souls, passionately and lovingly embracing for all time. For all time. Two people building a life, living a life, loving for life. Two people who knew how to put one another and their relationship at the top of the list. Looking to one another, enjoying one another.
It's okay.
That's okay.
It's okay.
Enjoying one another, keeping the passion alive. Gazing at one another throughout their lives with true love in their hearts. They have laughed together, cried together, held each other up, pulled each other up, and lifted each other higher. They shared their faith, their love of nature, their passion for family and friends, their generosity, their kindness, their zest for life, and the enjoyment of every single day. Throughout the best of times and times of terrible sorrow, there was always this love story. There have been countless love stories throughout the history of humans, but none could ever be greater than the amazing love between my mom and dad.
Can I get one?
Yeah. Wow.
That's why I'm
How,
sitting here.
how can you follow? How can you follow that?
My name is George. I'm not the George Burns that always smoked a cigar. But this is reminiscent of a long, long time ago when a certain lady named Eleanor Roosevelt took me by the hand, embraced me, and says, George, yesterday is history, tomorrow's the future, and today is a present, the present. Now that present is also a gift, and that is a gift from God that has assembled all of us here today. And I want to congratulate, what's your name again? Bert.
Donna.
Bert and
Donna.
Donna.
That's me.
The very best. I and Gloria are approaching our, as well as the Canfields, Alan and
Irene.
Irene. Okay, in 2 years we'll be doing hopefully the same thing. And with the help of God, that's what God has given us as a gift today, all of us present. Thank you very much. For non-court, I will proceed with due diligence to my seat in the corner. And I think I've got a squirrel over there that likes my cigar, so that's where I'm headed.
Good work. Thank you.
Boy, did I choose
My
the right
God.
time.
Made out like a bandit.
Oh my goodness, watch out, there's 2 steps.
2 steps.
Why don't you,
Careful, careful.
one of you young men go?
I'd rather have a young woman.
Yeah, you got that.
Well,
Believe
yes,
me.
but
The bad, the going.
You good, George?
Okay.
Okay, the kids and I, the family, published in the paper for Mom and Dad, and I'm just going to read you what we wrote.
Oh, this makes me cry.
Yeah, I'll try and get through. In celebration of Clarence, who is Bud and Donna Burton's 65th wedding anniversary on May 29, 1948. From the moment the sailor's eyes met the young waitresses at the UNI Cafe, it was kismet. Love blossomed, destinies collided, and Bud and Donna began their amazing journey as one. Together they built and continually strengthened their marriage with love and commitment to God and their family. Bud and Donna's love and faith are the beating heart of their family of 11 children, 19 grandchildren, and 17 great-grandchildren. They remain the guiding light and inspiration of all who have been blessed to know and love them. We celebrate the 65 years of joy and passion their hearts have always known, all our love, all our thankfulness, your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Thank you.
Thank you, I'm glad we read it first this morning.
Yeah.
If anyone else would like to say
She'll have
a
to.
couple words, okay. Mr. Jacob Lucy.
Jacob.
Jakey.
Yeah.
Born in our house. Well, not my house.
So, I'm Jacob Lucy. I'm Papa and Grandma's great-grandson. And I'd like to say a few things about this great couple over here. So, I was born into this family quite a long time ago. And I was actually raised at their house. And I've always felt so welcome and so grateful to have a family like this with me at all times. And Papa and I have the greatest relationship possible. I mean, just going over all of our similarities and him just telling his war stories and everything that's, about his life. And it just makes me so happy that I'm here with them, And Grandma, she's the funniest little thing ever. She's always cracking, a wise joke, and I think it's just hilarious, without even doing it on purpose. And she's just the funniest thing and the most lovely thing ever. And I would just like to thank them so much that they were here for me, and that I can never have any, there's nobody else in the world that can replace them, and how great they are.
Mr. Uncle Paul Burton.
Uncle Paul. Uncle Paul.
Don't be afraid.
He won't tell the truth.
Tales out of school.
No truth, no.
Oh.
I was best man at her wedding.
A
Ah.
16-year-old.
And
He was.
when I was a young boy, he was in the service in World War II, and always my inspiration. And he always pushed me when he came back from the war to be a better person. And I thought, honest to God, this is the way I thought. I mean, how could I be any better? You have to have been there, but anyway, I tried to be what he wanted me to be, and here I am. And I think a somewhat successful person, and a lot of it's because of him and you.
Oh, I couldn't.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you, Paul.
Great, Paul.
Oh, boy.
Thank you.
Oh. Here comes Pete.
Go, Pete.
Oh, Pete.
A lifelong friend, Mr. Pete Petrogin.
Thank you, Jen.
This will be brief. I say that because there are occasions when my wife Kathleen wonders when I get up to say a few words. That I can go on and on and on. So I picked out just a few quotes from stuff I've read and thought about. The first is, and by the way, the Burtons don't need any more testimony from me or any of us. Their lives with all of their friends as a daily and a lifelong testimony to their life and to their love for their children. So the first comment is from my favorite author, Kurt Vonnegut, and I thought about that when I have thought about the Burtons, and it's one of my favorite comments from him. He said, "You are who you pretend to be, so be careful whom you pretend to be." And about the Burtons, one never had to think as you visited with them or thought about them or got to know them, well, who are they pretending to be today, or what role are they playing? They have always been, and they always will be, who they are. Just a great couple without any pretense. And one that's a comment then from my own, one of my friends, is a little less serious, I guess, but humorous. With one of my friends, I commented one day, what would happen to our marriages, you know, if we lived to be 950 years old?
That's interesting.
You know, what couple could endure that?
We're all different.
And my friend, who is somewhat of a cynical person, not like myself, I'm just a humorist,